Minds on Muscle community, welcome to the Fitness Pro Mentors interview series. If you want to hear some amazing interviews from amazing fitness professionals all over the world, please join our Fitness Pro Mentors private Facebook group. But today, let's make it rain. Fitness Pro Mentors, super excited to have my friend Sam Trotta join us. Little technical difficulty there. Sam, welcome to Fitness Pro Mentors. How you doing?
Pretty great, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Really excited to have you here. So if you're watching this live or listening to this later, Sam Trotta is someone that is a good friend of mine. We got a lot of things in common. We live close to one another. We've both taught. Sam is an active instructor for similar programs. We like working with people. We like working with muscles. The one thing I'm really honored by is Sam is involved in our marketing consulting program through Fitness Pro Mentors, our mastermind group. Sam, man, thank you so much for being a part of this community. It's really an honor to have you.
Oh, it's cool, man. I'm so grateful that you initiated this whole thing with Fitness Pro Mentors, and glad to be a part of it. Glad to be part of the first round.
Actually, this is actually a lateral question to the first one I was going to ask you, but without any information, for anyone who's listening, Sam has told me in the past, in confidentiality, I'm going to pull it out of here in a little bit, that he's done other types of programs like this in the past. Bigger, smaller, different programs. And he's consistently telling me how great this one is. Now, I think he's just buttering my bread. I don't know about that. But, Sam, if you don't mind, like, putting aside the really cool results that you got that we're going to talk about, do you mind speaking to how what we're doing in the mentorship, the full program, is different than other things you've done in the past?
Sure. So I won't mention the specific things that I've done in the past, but they all because I don't want to get in trouble, but they all centered around kind of mass marketing tactics to draw people into my facility under the guise of kind of making things seem not expensive and driving people into the ground with these crazy fat loss programs and that kind of thing. And what I thought when I took these specific programs was that I could draw from the principles that would help me pull people into the facility and then just kind of, do my thing the way I would do my thing. What I love about Fitness Pro Mentors is it's founded and substantiated in its programming on a really high level of professionalism in the marketing of big ticket, high end fitness services. And what you've been doing with us so far, I find to be both systematic, so it can be employed reliably, but also it speaks to the level of professionalism that I know you hold near and dear to the fitness industry, and one that I'd like to uphold as well once our facility opens back up again.
Well, thank you, Sam, for saying that. I mean, those are all super kind words, and I'm glad that it's kind of happening. But we both have a very strong love, and it's very near to our hearts. The whole RTS, Resistance Training Specialist Program by Tom Purvis. And
yes, absolutely.
Tom, I know RTS is all around principle-based learning. Like, even though he'll teach mechanical nuts and bolts, he tries to teach you the principle around that mechanics so you can explode it and be creative and apply it in all these different places. Like, you have taken other business programs, and the whole reason why I started this thing was not out of the wanting to start a business program. It's just every business program I took was either one of two things. It was either tactics, like, step by step, follow these steps. These tactics will work. You do this, you upsell, downsell, or it's all about paid advertising. And I wanted to create something that was as close to principle-based learning where I could give you all the systems and you can kind of plug and play whatever worked for your business.
I think you've done an excellent job at that so far, and you probably made my point more clearly and more eloquently than I just did. But I would definitely say that you've done an excellent job of that in the Fitness Pro Mentors program.
Now, speaking of excellence, the reason why I'm having you on today is, so openly, I wanted to have Sam on at the end of his time through our program, but he's only about halfway through right now, which I'm excited about. And he's halfway through, and in the last 14 days, he's acquired 14 clients. Now, it's funny, the reason why I wanted to have you on is when I interview some of these people who are interested in joining our program, like, if I got 5 more clients, 10 more clients, I'd be happy and good for the rest of my career, and if I could just maintain them, lose one, get one, I'll be good. You have beaten most people's 12-week goal in 14 days. And I was wondering if you could speak to what processes and I think I know, but I would love to hear your words, in our FIST formula and the finding strategy, what have you been employing and what stuff's been working for you? And don't give away too much candy here, if you don't mind, Sam.
Sure. So the first thing so drawing from principles, what being in Fitness Pro Mentors, just being in the community and rolling in the process of wanting to acquire or re-engage clients again, it's had me focus on what I can do right now versus what I cannot do. And I think as entrepreneurs, I know I don't know if it's guilty, but I have this tendency, as I think many entrepreneurs do. We tend to lack focus on now, and we tend to want to focus on next. You know, where am I going to be a year from now? How can I 10x this business? How can I create extra profitability in the future versus what can you do right now to make all that stuff happen? And then rather than focusing on projections and future goals and all that sort of stuff, focus on the now. So that's been a major thing for me through Fitness Pro Mentors. That's one of the things I like in the Find formula, is it gives systems and guidelines for what you can do in the moment on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis to make sure that you're actively engaging in the actual finding of new clients. So some of the things that work, can I give specific tactics here? Like, I don't want to give too much away about,
let's do it. Go for
about
it.
Fit Pro Mentors. Okay, so client resurrections was a big deal. Just calling people I hadn't seen in a while, and my gym's closed for the time being, but that doesn't mean I'm totally inactive. And what I just basically reached out and said, hey, just want to see how you're doing, and with authenticity, want to see how you're doing. And quite honestly, with nearly all of my resurrection phone calls, I didn't even have to bring up, so, hey, this is what I'm doing now. The clients all basically said, oh, it's so good to hear from you. I miss working out with you. Are you doing any kind of training right now? And the answer was, well, since you asked. And there we go. And it's almost because these are going to be, I think, our warmest leads. The people that have worked with us before. They're aware of our capabilities. They're aware of our skill sets. They're aware of the kinds of benefits that they at one point saw. So then there was that. And then systematically asking for referrals. Systematically asking for referrals has been another huge thing. And it's interesting because, with the technical side of exercise, I mean, we're never dialed in perfectly, right? But with the technical side of exercise being what we mostly focus on as exercise professionals, once you combine that with good finding and integration strategies, the referral, I call it like we'll call it the RRE, the referral ripple effect. Like, I had somebody refer a client, somebody refer a friend of theirs, and she was so enthusiastic in her referral to this person that without even trying what I was doing, she referred one of her friends so they could start interacting with the platform together.
Amazing. And you're speaking to one of my favorite parts of this whole thing, is that whenever you engage, when it's you and one other person, I don't know why trainers don't think of themselves this way, but no matter who you are, and you are an entrepreneur, but even if you are not, and you're a trainer in some gym working, and you got a client, those two people, the two of you, you are a business. You are an entrepreneur. You're a service-based entrepreneur. Totally. In that interaction, and that time is holy. So when you have a conversation with someone and you nurture them and you talk about their feelings around what's going on with them, that pain in their shoulder, the weight they want to lose, how it's affecting their life, and you genuinely care, you enter into this nurturing process where you're nurturing that relationship, and you are building stock to who you are, but also who they are, and trying to build a friendship and a camaraderie that turns into a professional relationship. And that's what's great, is that referrals and resurrections, those people know your brand. They know that you're gold medal Red ice cream and you're delicious, and they haven't had it for a while. As soon as you reach out to them, right? Yeah, ice cream after this. Yeah, right? As soon as you reach out to them and you touch base with them, they go, oh my gosh. And that's the other thing. I mean, we're in a lockdown in Canada right now. It's not just us that are in lockdown. They're in lockdowns too. And so I think I forget that. Even today I was like, my clients are sad. They're missing this whole thing too. So that's great. So Sam, a question for you, right? You are, I would say, the reason why I said I'm honored to have you in the program is you're a very established professional. I mean, you are someone that has a lot of pools of people. You have clients that that look up to you as a steward. You have trainers that work for you that look at you as a steward. You are also an instructor for an internationally recognized education program. You have other trainers outside of your business that look at you. And you've got friends who are trainers that aren't even in those circles that look at you as a leader. What was it about what I was doing in this Fitness Pro Mentors program that got you really excited? And if you don't mind me asking a weird question, how did you feel around your business stuff before entering into our program?
Okay, there's a lot there, but I like it all. So first things first, it's always interesting when someone lists all the stuff I do to me, because I have this thing, I think they call it imposter syndrome, where I'm like, who are you talking about? Like, what's going on here? So with that said, I think one of the things that drew me into Fitness Pro Mentors, given all of those things, is, of all the things you listed, I could like pat myself on the back, be proud of my accomplishments, but none of the things you listed have anything to do directly with business development. They're all interesting things. I love dealing with people. I love being with people. I took a personality test at the beginning of the lockdown last year, and I'm 94th percentile in trait extroversion. So like the data is there. I love being with people. So that means I love working with other trainers. I love associating with businesses that are outside of mine, with other like-minded professionals. I love working with my clients. I love seeing other people's clients. The thing that I loved about Fitness Pro Mentors is, here's a way of systematically attracting more of that into my business, beyond just hoping that people refer their friends and family to us, and beyond praying that some Instagram or Facebook post that I put up gets a bunch of likes and maybe has someone say, oh yeah, this guy seems like he kind of knows what he's talking about from an exercise standpoint. I'll keep saying it. I mean, the systems that you're having us set up in the program could lay the foundation for a business. I think honestly, Brandon, and I don't mean to butter your biscuit extra hard here, but I think that these kinds of systems could work for professional exercise services, like at scale. I think that one of the best parts about what I'm learning is that it could work for someone who's just a solo operator, either in another facility or they have their own little studio somewhere. I think it could also work for a really high-end professional fitness enterprise at a larger scale, because what I'm finding is that there are systems that I can put in place where, at least for certain facets of it, I could delegate off to other people. Like I have, I hope every facility has a Daisy. I have this wonderful person that works for me. Her name's Daisy. I call her the facility manager, but when people come in to Striation 6 and they're brand new, I say she's the heart, soul, brains of the business. I just work here and pay for stuff. Everybody should have a Daisy. Everybody should have a Daisy. In the sense that she'll be able to take these systems that we're learning and execute on them, so I can focus on what I'm good at, which is dealing with clients, relating to trainers, passing on my knowledge through study groups, networking with other like-minded business professionals, and the actual, if you think like find, mind, and grind, you're implementing systems for minding, which is what I would think people like us tend to be not so good at.
Love it, man. Yeah. Find, mind, and grind. I haven't heard that one, but
yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Entrepreneur, manager, technician, finder, minder, grinder. The person who told me that theory said that we tend it's a diamond in the rough that's good at all three. Most people are good at one or two. Entrepreneurs tend to be good at two, and it tends to be the find and the grind. It's the management of the business that tends to be the toughest. And to have good managers, you need systems in place, and you need people who are going to be willing to follow, execute, and improve on those systems and help tailor them to the specific facility or the specific business.
Hey, that brings up a really interesting thing you just said. And so or anyone who knows me and knows Sam, I used to teach for Resistance Training Specialist program, and Sam is the captain of the ship in Toronto, which I think you're an amazing professional to be doing it. I think that Toronto is lucky to have you. But the RTS program is like this insanely dense biomechanics, exercise mechanics program that takes every exercise and blows it up to the point where some people might go, wow, this is too much detail to look at, but you got to know the detail so you can know who you're working with, the goals they have, and how far you can take it along the continuum training idea. Now, that being said, taking away this RTS thing, why do you think so many entrepreneur personal trainers, in your opinion, spend so much time and money on exercises? They take RTS, they take N1 education, they take precision nutrition, they take whatever, X, Y, Z, thousands. They spend hundreds, thousands of hours perfecting their own squat to avoid the butt wink. But they forego, like the nuts and bolts of talking about their business. They forego this conversation. They don't put the same hours in that they put into their growing their muscles as they do growing their business, right? Business sets of rules. What is your thoughts with that? Why do you think that is?
Oh boy. People are liars. And they say they care about certain things, and a lot of times they just, can I swear on this thing? They just don't give a fuck a lot of the time when they say they do. And myself, like hand up, myself included. It's and I don't think it's a malicious lie when someone says, I really care about building my business, and then all they do is spend time correcting their butt wink and chatting with people. I think, and this is a misguided thought, but I think anyone thinks they can own a facility as long as they sign a lease and have some cash. Ownership has a lot more to it than that. It is something, the basic mechanics of ownership are something that you can learn along the way, but much like the kinds of marketing systems we're talking about, management of a facility, like you better be willing to stumble, fall, pick yourself back up again and figure it out. So if your, rent checks aren't at your landlord on time, you're going to put a system in place, and it's somewhat intuitive. I write the checks, I mail them, and I send them in. Dear landlord, I've mailed you these checks. I hope we're all in good shape. You make sure there's enough cash in the bank at the end of the month. Problem solved. When it comes to systems to be put in place on the management or the minding side of things, when it comes to marketing, we say we care about them, and maybe it's more like we want to care about them, but we have no idea how to care about them. So most of us who go into the exercise profession have a passion is the most misused word in the English language. Other than essential, passion is the most misused word in the English language. We have a purpose when it comes to exercise. We want to help people. We want to save lives, because for a lot of us, that's what we're doing. Who cares about Instagram, Brandon? Who cares about Facebook? Who cares about resurrection calls? Until you realize that is your vector for saving more lives. That is your vector for helping more people through exercise, by putting systems in place to attract the right kind of client to your business and get more people through the door who are going to enroll in what you're trying to do in service to them. The more lives you save. So for me, it's like I had to relate the marketing, the finding, the integration, and the stay part of things to my identity, my role. I never know which one of those to use. My identity as a helper, as someone who's looking to build health. As my good friend and business partner Brad Thorpe says, create health, change lives, and give back through exercise. And that's our mission statement at Striation 6. And if we actually care about that, then part of our mandate has to be taking the steps to authentically and generously bring new people into the facility.
So identity is, the identity thing is like your natural self, right? How you naturally are. And then the roles or the hats you put on in your business and all that. But I was going to say, you said something really powerful. I want to kind of ask you, and it's, kind of pushing a button here, not your button, but pushing a button. You said something like, you'll talk to people, trainers are excited, and they're like, I want to build my business. And then they don't do anything, right? The number of trainers I've talked about who have a similar mandate as you, where they're like, I'm super passionate about helping people. I know exercise can change lives. I know nutrition can change lives. If they do this, they will be better. I just need to get busier. And they got 5 hours of clients a week. And then all those other hours that they've decided are the hours they're going to work with clients, instead of spending that time working on their business, or even, and I know they may not know what to do, but even trying. They go home and play Xbox. They go out and they do things, and they wait for clients to come in. I mean, why do you think people do that?
So I work with and have for the last, I think it's got to be 10 years. I've worked with this excellent therapist who came up with this, what would you call it? Allegory, metaphor, something like that, where he says we all have bodyguards, and they're the internal voices in our heads that are not our true selves. They're defense mechanisms and systems that we've come up with at an unconscious level to protect us from what is perceived, often wrongly, as a threat. So it might be that, going on social media, you think you're going to sound stupid, or, we tend to be in the fitness industry, excuse me, very body conscious individuals. So you might say something like, I don't like how I look in this shirt, or you're going to come up with all these excuses that are either defense based, or, as you like to say in our classes and in our seminars and in our content, we all want to do A+ versus B+ or B- work. And we want to wait for the A+ to be possible. We want to wait till we're 6-pack shredded. We want to wait till the lighting's perfect. I mean, you can see, like, I feel like a technological peon right now with my camera setup, contrasted to yours. But I'm here, and I'm sending information and my perspective out to people, and that's what really matters. So we'll come up with all this stuff that's basically there. It's like a blanket of excuses to say, I don't know how this is going to turn out. I don't know how this is going to turn out, and I'm scared of putting myself up there and either looking bad or failing. I think that, and I know for myself, I mean, I don't want to project it onto everybody. I know that's what often held me back. And I would say things like, oh, social media is dumb. Fitness on Instagram, it's just a bunch of, biceps and butts and tight-fitting clothing. And I had a client who actually said to me about a year ago, he's like, well, why don't you do something different then? And I was like, well, it's not going to get any attention. It's like, how do you know? And I kind of just went, well, I guess I don't. And I think a lot of us fall prey to that.
Love it. Thank you. And thank you for sharing all that. Like, there's some personal stuff in there, but I mean, it's funny that you say the bodyguards, and that's important. I want to come back to that. Not your bodyguard, but just in general. But, that idea with social media of like butts and biceps, I totally get it. But the nice thing about all the butts and biceps and all these influencers online is, since there's so many of them, there is a niche. Like, it's that whole thing that Earl Nightingale said, right? Whatever direction everyone else is going, go the complete opposite direction, right? What's everyone doing right now?
Yes.
They're transferring to online training. They're posting more model shots of themselves with their shirts off and their shredded 6-pack and their butts to try and call people in so they follow them, and then they can convert them. But that sexification marketing works to get people to follow you, but doesn't create high quality leads. It creates followers, not potential customers. And so I think what you're doing is great. I mean, I think you could eat more donuts if you want to and put more information out there because it's about the quality of the info,
Well, yeah, I'll take it a step further, and I to anybody who's listening that likes the sexification marketing, beyond just, that's a beautiful body that you get to look at. They create sheeple. They create sheeple who want to. No, really, if I follow it must be the case that if I click follow and like, that there's a chance that either this person might pay attention to me, which validates me as a person somehow. And I don't mean to make fun. And I'm not trying to. Or if I do what they're doing, that I'll look like them, which might be true depending on what your genetic makeup is and what your willingness to suffer is and what your willingness to work hard is. In all likelihood, it's not. In all likelihood, it's not. People call it aspirational, inspirational. I I feel like it's more irritational than anything else, whether you're conscious of that or not. So I think the biggest difference between an exercise professional, this is just my opinion, this is not a Fit Pro, I'm not trying to speak for Fit Pro mentors here, but my personal opinion on what an exercise professional does on Instagram is it's an invitation to enrollment. People like us do things like this. This is what I would like to do with you. Come try it. I would love to see if you can enroll in this in your own mind and with your body. I'd love to see if we are a good fit. If we're not, I totally understand. And actually be willing to let the client go before they even get into your schedule. And that way it creates this sort of relaxed air that when somebody actually follows up from a social media ad or a promo or so, it's just a conversation. And you get them into, I'll borrow from you here, Brandon, you get them into your universe. And all of a sudden, it's interplanetary orbit until there's a link. And once a link happens, it's totally natural.
I love it. I love it. I don't know why, but it's funny. I think sexification for sales, if you were selling a product, like if I had this hat and I want to sell this hat, and I took some shredded person and they sell this hat and they're doing all these crazy poses with it, and I just need to sell this hat one time, that's the way to do it. Because it needs to be visually attractive. It's a quick, impulsive purchase. This $1,000 hat sold. You're going to look like me if you buy this hat. But when it's a service, right, people figure out like this is a long-haul service. You're going to be working with someone like Sam for a year, 2 years, 6 months, 10 years. Who knows? But if they purchase you, like, it was a funny thing for me when I did my bodybuilding show and I was down to 170 and shredded. I had a whole pile of people ask me, "What do you do? Can I come see you?" And they come see me, and then none of them are clients now. Because they saw me and they thought by working with me with the cool body work / exercise stuff I was doing, they were going to end up looking like, and I was like, no, I mean, this is from not eating anything for the last 20 weeks. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy stuff. Thank you, Sam.
Well, it's interesting that you just bring up that whole side of things. Like, how do I look like you? How do I function like you? I mean, so I'm, depending on the day, I'm anywhere between 203 and 207 pounds. I'm certainly not fat, but I'm not shredded ripped either. I'm a pretty strong guy. Yeah, something like that. I'm a pretty strong guy. I'm a fairly fit guy. For my size, my cardio is actually not so bad. I love jujitsu. I love judo. I like doing lots of different things with my body. And the best part about my current clientele, with the exception of maybe 5% is that none of them do anything that I do. None of them do anything and they're interested in what I do insofar as they find it interesting, because I think they see me approach exercise and physicality from this certain standpoint, and they're like, oh, so this guy's not a typical martial arts guy. This guy's not a typical, bench press guy. This guy's not a typical fitness battle rope, assault bike, med ball slam kind of guy. He's approaching this a different way. So they're interested in it to see how I think about all that stuff. But then when it comes to their goals, I mean, my ideal target avatar, but my ideal client is, 55 years old, and maybe he or she did a whole bunch of active and maybe competitive stuff in their youth, and now they want to hold on to some semblance of that physicality and manage their knee pain. I mean, I'm dealing with people who know that their bodies are vulnerable. They're not trying to push past it. They're trying to live with them and evolve with them as time goes on. I love that I have a few clients in my universe now who are from my martial arts school. And that's super cool. That's super cool because I love helping my fellow martial arts sisters and brothers. But beyond that, none of my clients do anything that I do. And it's the best. It's the best because they're not trying to emulate me. They know that when we're in session, we collectively are focused on them, not on me. It's great.
And that's, in my opinion, why you and other people like you are true experts, is that you can do 365 squats for days for yourself, but you're not going to put that barbell on all your clients' backs, and you know the difference. You're able to assess them and figure out, is that barbell appropriate or not? Let's actually just get you to do some joint motion that looks like a squat and get you prepared for that. So by the way, Sam's bodyguard that we're going to talk about now, he could squat 365 for reps, crushing it. Now, your bodyguard, right? This idea of a bodyguard, I think, is a really interesting thing. And,
Sure.
I've talked about my personal journey that there was a point where I was standing on a treadmill at LA Fitness after Persicini's closed, and before opening this place, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to become a real estate agent so I can make some money and afford a house, and I'm going to work as a trainer on the side so I can continue loving this. And Katie looked at me and goes, you're nuts. You're going to make a go at this. Why don't you just go for it? And so for me, I think that was my insecure bodyguard kind of going, well, I need the security blanket of the money over here. I can't do this over here. And I was just wondering, thinking of that fork in the road where you're like, I'm going to go this way and become an X, Y, and Z because it's safe. Or I'm going to go this way and I'm going to jump all in and become exercise pro and I'm going to make a financial and happy living at it. Did you ever experience that fork and what was it like?
Oh, 100%. 100%. So I enrolled in the Resistance Training Specialist Mastery Program in 2008, July 2008. About 8 months before that, I was working. So I was in this really interesting situation. I was working at a big box gym. Oh, they're not around anymore, so I can say who they were. I was working for Extreme Fitness in Midtown Toronto. And it was like, other than maybe Premier, it was like the quintessential high pressure sales, really aggressive sexification style marketing, really toxic work environment. I was actually well liked at by management because I didn't cause trouble. And my clients liked me. I put up good numbers and I had good client retention and they gave me like a sort of low level management role at one point, but I hated it. Like I hated working there. And I got to this point in the road where a client of mine offered me an entry level position with lots of room to grow in the financial industry. There was a possibility of working for my family business, which I never really showed interest in beyond the business development side. It was small scale infill land development. Or I could have just kept going at Extreme and see what happens. And I was approached by my now business partner, Brad. He did a session of muscle activation techniques with me. And this is kind of a fun story, actually. So he's treating my shoulder and he does this testy thing and he does this, manual treatment on the attachments of the tissue. And he says, so this is your coracobrachialis. It attaches from the tip of the coracoid process of your scapula to the middle third of the medial aspect of your humerus. But you're a personal trainer, so you knew that, right? And he sort of throws this at me, and I'm kind of like, actually, I had no idea about that at all. And he said, okay, well, I don't mean to be an asshole, but I've seen you work with your clients, and yeah, I've seen you work with your clients, and yeah, exactly. He's the best. He's the best. I've seen you work with your clients, and I like how you are with them. And my wife says nothing but good things about you. Come work for me. I'm opening my own shop. And I'll show you some of the stuff that I know, and I think you should go and start taking these classes. So he introduced me to some of the principles of RTS, and I think it was July, must have been the second weekend in July 2008. I flew down to Oklahoma, and I just knew. I resigned from the facility I resigned from Extreme Fitness March 31st, April 1st, 2008. I started working with Brad, and I haven't looked back.
Awesome, man. Brad's one of those people that can throw a turd at you and tell you it's for a good reason and have it be okay. You know what I mean?
Oh, he delivers it so well. He delivers it so well.
He reminds you of that scene in Anchorman where the guy comes out with the plate and there's a cat poop on it. Like that whole you eat the cat poop. Right, exactly. Anyway, Tito.
Yeah, Tito, exactly. No, right, I don't want to. Yeah.
I will eat them. Anyway, so I got two last questions for you, sir, and then we'll put a pin in today. Sure. The whole reason why I brought you on is because you did something amazing in a very short period of time. Sure. Basically, a client a day in 14 days, which is just amazing. from where you, because you're an established entrepreneur person before being in the Fitness Pro mentorship, where you were before our program, and you're only halfway through, and where you are now, what can you say has changed for you that people could learn from, that they'd enjoy learning about you?
I'm focusing deliberately on the acquisition of clients, and I've got a much clearer vision of where I want my career to go, both as an exercise professional, like in the act of working with people, and as a business owner in the exercise industry. I have a much clearer vision of where I want those two things to go and how I want them to look over the next 5 years.
I love it, Sam. My last question for you to put today to bed is, in your opinion, who is the Fitness Pro Mentors full program for?
Who is the Fitness Pro Mentors program for? I think the Fitness Pro Mentors program is for anyone who authentically considers themselves an exercise professional and wants to make the greatest positive impact in that space.
Concise, man. I love it. Tom Purvis has influenced you well with the conciseness over expansive. I was looking for an expansive answer, but you went for that. Nice.
You were looking for an expansive? Oh, man. It's my one concise answer. I'm rambling this whole time, and this is my one concise answer.
You know what? I got to say, and it's probably a compliment that one of the students sent me that is really like, it means the most to me, is that for me, and I remember one time, one of the first times I met you, I came in, I was wearing this shirt for a muscle company and then RTS, and you said, double badging it. Look at this guy, right? Forever, there's always been like some sort of muscle-based education program and then some sort of biomechanics program that everyone you and I know has jumped into. And this one gentleman said, muscle program, RTS, and Fitness Pro Mentors are the three things that everybody needs. And I was like, oh, dude.
Wow.
I said, you're putting me up there with them right now. That's a huge honor. So, blew my mind.
Yeah, I think anybody, if I could add to my answer, I would say anyone that wants to level up in their professional capacity as an actual professional, because part of being a professional too, I think, is minding the business side of what you do. If you're undercharging, if you're inhospitable because of your environment that you're in, these are all aspects of professionalism. So if you're looking to level up in the fitness industry in any way, Fit Pro Mentors, let's do this.
Cool, man. Dude, thank you so much. Congratulations on your success so far, and I'm really excited to see where you go.
Thanks, Brandon. And I'm really grateful for this program. Thanks for having me today, and I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the modules.
Everyone, if you're following and you finish this episode, please follow Sam Trotta. Sam, what's your Instagram handle?
Just at Sam Trotta.
Easy name. Follow at Sam Trotta. Check him out, see what he's up to, and you'll see all the cool stuff that we're working on. Thanks again, Sam.
Thanks, man.